Hello everybody, and welcome back to my channel. This is my Premier League predictions, game week 13, game week 12, which will be tomorrow, the first game. So, the first game is Brighton against Forest. Now last week, Forest lost to Wolves 1-0. Now, Steve Cooper, let's talk about him. In my opinion, Cooper needs to be sacked. Why give him a new contract? On the other hand, let's talk about Brighton. They're at home. They lost to Brentford 2-0. Both teams need the win. Forest Forest, they're on a really poor run, but so both teams need the win, but I'm going for Brighton 3, Forest 0. The next game is Palace against Wolves. Last week, Palace, they drew to Leicester 0-0. Now, Palace, I think it was, mind you, with Leicester being on poor form, you would have expected Palace to win that game. So I think Palace would have been upset with that result, Palace fans. Let me know down in the comments, but they're playing Wolves. We've already spoke about them. Obviously, they beat Forest 1-0. But I think Wolves need a new manager. I predicted Palace 2, Wolves 1. Man City against Arsenal is postponed, so we won't be talking about that. The next game is Bournemouth against Southampton. Now, last week, Bournemouth drew 2-2 to Fulham. So, I mean, I didn't watch much of the game, so I don't have much to say about it, but don't know if it was entertaining or not, but there was plenty of goals. But last week, Southampton, they, just having a look, they drew to West Ham 1-1 in a game where I think Southampton fans would have taken a point from West Ham. But I've gone for Bournemouth 2, Southampton 0. We now move on to Liverpool against West Ham. Now, don't criticise me on this prediction, because this prediction was made before Liverpool beat Man City. Now, let's talk about Liverpool. On Sunday, they went against the odds and beat City 1-0 with the Salah breakaway goal. Liverpool, after that goal went in, they looked the better side. They didn't have much possession, but for all that went on, they looked the better side, in my opinion. Sorry, that was the door. Anyway, so yeah, Liverpool looked the better side, in my opinion. So they're up against West Ham. Now, obviously, we've spoken about West Ham. They drew to to Southampton 1-1 in a game where they probably would have been kicking themselves, and they're probably a bit frustrated to drop points to Southampton against a team, let's be honest, who are fighting for relegation, in my opinion. Right, this prediction was made before Liverpool beat City, but I'm going to stick with this prediction. Don't criticise me. Liverpool 1, West Ham 2. Now the next game is Brentford against Chelsea. Last week, Brentford beat Brighton 2-0 by an Ivan Toney brace. Now Ivan Toney looked quite good in that game, in my opinion. I didn't watch the game, but I saw that he scored a goal and he scored a penalty. Yeah, but it was a decent result for Brentford. But they're up against Chelsea here. Now, last week, Chelsea beat Villa 2-0. Steven Gerrard under pressure. Obviously, we'll talk about Villa in a bit. But up against Chelsea, I don't think Brentford will get anything from that game. I think Chelsea will win 3-1. Now the next game is Newcastle. No, not Newcastle. The next game is Newcastle against Everton. Now, last week, Newcastle drew to Man United 0-0 away at Old Trafford. I didn't watch the game, so I can't comment on much. But it sounded like a bore draw to me. Now last game week, we lost to Spurs 2-0 in a game where we didn't take our chances, and let's be honest, Demarai Gray is so hit and miss. I have predicted Newcastle 1, Everton 1. Now, the next game is Newcastle against Spurs. Not Newcastle against Spurs, Man United against Spurs. Got mixed up with the two Uniteds. Anyway, Man United against Spurs. Last week, obviously, Man United drew with Newcastle in what sounds to me like a bore draw. On the other hand, Spurs beat us 2-0. Now, I've talked about the penalty, and I've talked about the dive. I've talked about what I think was the dive as well. Sorry, that was my iPad. Kane, in my opinion, dived. Hosberg, no one was marking him. But Man United, considering they just drew to Newcastle in a game where they would have expected to pick up points, I've gone United 1, Spurs 2. But I think that's probably the game of the week. In a game where certainly loads of people will be watching. The next game, Fulham against Villa. Now, last week, Fulham drew to Bournemouth 2-2 in an exciting game, which sounds like to me. But Villa, they've just lost to Chelsea 2-0, and Steven Gerrard must be under pressure. Steven Gerrard must get the sack. Gerrard out. I'm not a Villa fan, but Gerrard out. They're up against Fulham, but I think they'll scrape the win in the end. But I think they'll win. It'll be Fulham 1, Villa 2. Finally, Leicester against Leeds. Another game where I think it'll be boring, but Leicester being on poor form. Last week, Leicester drew to Palace. In I think was a boring game again. So I can't really comment much on that game. Leeds United, they lost to Arsenal 1-0 in a game where there was a power cut in the first 3 minutes. But I think it will be Leicester 0, Leeds 2, I think there'll be two breakaway goals. So yes, I'm going to make a prediction for who's going to get the goals in that game. Sinistera and Paddy Bamford if he's fit. Anyway, see you all on Wednesday for the match reaction. For the match summary, I'll be uploading then. But don't forget, I'm going on holiday on Thursday, so we won't be doing much on that day. See you later.